So, question here is to find the answer, round to the correct number of significant figures. So, in the first case that we have here, we have 783 times 54,678. So if we go and we type that in our calculators, we have 783 times 54,678. And so doing that, you are going to get an unrounded answer of, let's see, 428, my bad, 428, 12874, 12874. So what is that going to end up being? That's going to be 42,812,874. Okay, so to figure this out, we have to look at the number of significant figures. 783 has how many? Has 3. 54,678 has 5. Which one is going to be the smallest number? 3 is. So we're going to round this to the third place. 1, 2, 3. So our rounded answer is going to end up being 42,800,000, because the fact that the 1 right here is going to round down. So that's our first answer right here. Okay. Now next one, 78 divided by 345. So we say on our calculator 78 divided by 345. We do that and we get an answer that the unrounded answer for this is going to be 0.22609. You put that in the calculator. Now, to round this properly, we have to look at our two things here. 78 has 2 significant figures. 345 has 3 significant figures. Which one has the fewest? 2 is fewer. And so the 2 and the 2 are going to be significant. The 6 afterwards that we have up here is going to round up. And so we're going to end up making this be 0.23 is going to be our final answer for that right there. That's our rounded answer. Our next one, 7.8 times 10 to the third times 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th. Start off by finding the unrounded answer. Put it in the calculator. 7.8 times 10 to the third times 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th. So put that in the calculator, and what you end up getting is, for an unrounded answer, is 5.2026 times 10 to the negative 7th. Alright, now significant figure wise, 7.8 times 10 to the third has 2 significant figures. 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11th has 3 significant figures. So 2 is smaller, so I'll round this to the second significant place. So doing that, the 0 that's afterwards is going to round down, obviously, and so we're going to end up getting something that works out to be 5.2 times 10 to the negative 7th power. And that's going to be what we get for a rounded answer. Okay, our last one here, 75 divided by 25. Well, we can do this one in our head. 25 goes into 75 3 times, so our rounded answer is simply going to be 3. 75 has how many significant figures? 25 has how many significant figures? So they're both the same. These are both correct values, so we're going to round to 2 spots. Well, we only got 1 here. To give it a second significant figure, you're going to have to take this out 1 more. And so our answer would actually be 3.0, because that 0 trailing to the right of the decimal would be significant, and so 3.0 would end up being our final answer here. So that's how you go about multiplying and dividing things that have significant figures to them to make sure you get the proper result. First thing, let's break out our calculators, find the unrounded answer. So we start off with 89.365 minus 1.24897. And when we do that, our first result that we get is going to be our unrounded answer. Our unrounded answer here is going to be 88.11603. So that's what we start off with. We want to look at the smallest place. And so in this case right here, 89.365, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the thousandths place is where we start off for this one here. For this one right here, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths. So we have Which one is going to be less precise? Well, the less precise one is going to be the thousandths place. So we're going to round our answer to the thousandths place. So we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So we'll round it to there. The 0 that goes afterwards is going to round down. So that our rounded version here, correct number of significant figures, is going to be 88.116. Will be our final result there. Okay. Our next one, let's go ahead and once again break out our calculators. 8.34 times 10 to the fourth. So we say 8.34 times 10 to the fourth, and then we're going to add that to 2.1 times 10 to the second. And doing that, we end up with a final result here, significant figure-wise, of 8.361 times 10 to the 4th power. So 8.361 times 10 to the 4th power. Taking a look at our significant figures here, that we start off here, we know the 10 to the 4th spot is going to be this first one. That's where the 8 is. So that means the 3 is 10 to the 3rd, the 4 is 10 to the 2nd. So we have a 10 to the 2nd power is what we get for this guy right here. For this last one here, 2.1 times 10 to the 2nd, so we have 10 to the 2nd. That means this must be 10 to the 1st. So the question is, which one is least precise? Well, if you measure it to the nearest 10 to the 2nd, that's a bigger number than 10 to the 1st. You're not measuring as precisely, so 10 to the 2nd spot. So we have 8.361 times 10 to the 4th. The 8's in the 10 to the 4th, 10 to the 3rd, 10 to the 2nd. It's going to be that spot right there. So our rounded answer is going to be 8.36 times 10 to the 4th power. Okay? So that's what we have for that one. Look at our next one, 60 plus 1.3. Ooh, don't need a calculator for this one. 60 plus 1.3 is going to be equal just to 61.3. Very nice, very nice. And so, taking a look at this, on the 60, first question, is that last 0 significant? It's trailing, it's to the left of the decimal, so it's not. And so the most significant spot here, or the least significant place, is the tens place. 1.3, the least significant place, is going to be the tenths place, because it's the 3. And so which one is a less precise number? 10 is less precise than 1/10. And so we're going to go to the 10 spot. And so this one right here, since we're going to the 10 spot, that's going to be this guy right here. So it's the 1 rounds down, so we just get 60 for our final answer. And just to box this other one over here. For our last one, this one we'll need a calculator for. And so we have some negative exponents, but it works the same way. So we say 4.38 times 10 to the negative 3rd, and we're going to add that to 2.68479 times 10 to the negative 2nd. Doing so, we end up with a final result, unrounded wise, of 3.123 times 10 to the negative 2nd. That's what I get for this. And so 10 to the negative 2nd on that. So doing this, we have to go back and look at our numbers we've had so far. So 4.38 times 10 to the negative 3rd. The 4 is in the 10 to the negative 3rd spot. That means the 3, we go down 1. 10 to the negative 4th. The 8 is 10 to the negative 5th. Okay? For our next one, we have 2.68479 times 10 to the negative 2nd. So the 2 is 10 to the negative 2nd, then 10 to the negative 3rd, 10 to the negative 4th, 10 to the negative 5th, 10 to the negative 6th, 10 to the negative 7th. And so our lowest spot is 10 to the negative 7th. That's a 7. Which one is going to be the least precise one? Least precise one's going to be 10 to the negative 5th. So we're going to round our answer to the 10 to the negative 5th spot. That's going to be, we have 10 to the negative 2nd, negative 3rd, negative 4th, negative 5th. Well, turns out it's already where we have it. So this one right here, this is our final answer, that the rounded and the unrounded answer end up being the same.